from Taipei. We got back pretty late last night from the New Year's Eve festivities at Taipei 101. And if you've never been there before, they literally shut down the street to cars, and it's a giant block party with food stalls, music stages, and wall-to-wall bars and nightclubs. Anyways, this morning we are a wreck, and I've caught a cold. What I think we need in order to shake off this funk is a little Taiwan 小吃, or Taiwan street food. Let me throw on some clothes and then let's go chow. Taiwan street food is legendary, and it is by far the #1 attraction here on this island. I was born right here in Taipei, but moved to North America when I was 3. But I come back frequently to visit family and to eat. And Taiwan street food has definitely evolved significantly over the decades.
You have the classics like the infamous chou tofu or stinky tofu, a fermented bean curd that is marinated, then basically left to rot. It's then either steamed, boiled in a ramen like this one, or most popular, deep fried and served with a generous portion of pao cai, the Taiwanese equivalent of kimchi, made with cabbage, sugar, vinegar, and chili peppers. Although the Taiwanese version is not nearly as spicy. The pao cai is a necessary condiment as it helps to cut through the pungency of the chou tofu. You always know there's a stall around because you can smell it a block away. The owajian, or literally translated to oyster fry, is a chicken egg omelet with big plump pieces of baby oysters, veggies, usually Chinese lettuce, and a layer of potato and tapioca starch, which is virtually tasteless but gives a pleasant jelly-like texture that we Taiwanese call QQ and are super fond of. You'll hear us use that term everywhere to describe chewy foods. The owajian is topped with a sweet and sour chili sauce. And then there's the fan tuan, a popular breakfast item that also doubles as an awesome midnight post-club street snack. The inside is a yu tiao, also called a Chinese donut because of its deep-fried doughy goodness, and pork floss made by stir-frying the heck out of sugared shredded pork until it becomes so dry it takes on a flaky fiberglass texture. This is all wrapped on the outside with sticky rice. It's probably my all-time favorite traditional street food.
In the 1980s, when Taiwan night markets globalized street food, vendors became pretty creative and came up with modernized versions of traditional products that instantly gained worldwide popularity.
Like the guabao, or Taiwanese pork sandwiches. The outside bun, or bao, is a yeast-raised flour bread that is steamed into a taco shape, then stuffed inside with either fat, juicy pieces of pork belly or shredded meat that is braised in soy sauce to salty perfection. Depending on the vendor, it can be enhanced with pickled mustard greens, marinated cucumbers, or any variety of condiments. Of course, nowadays you can get modern versions in hipster restaurants around the world, like David Chang's Momofuku in Manhattan, Bao London, and Wonder Bao in Melbourne. And the crispy, crunchy, MSG addictive popcorn chicken, or yen suji. In the US, it's the perfect accompaniment for your boba milk tea. Small pieces of chicken, breaded and Kentucky deep fried, then slathered with salt and chili powder. The spicier, the better. Recently, Taipei has taken their fried chicken game to the next level and introduced a giant Texas-sized cutlet. The most famous shop in all of Taipei is Hot Star in Ximending. The breast is pounded flat like a dinner plate. But locals prefer tianshi jipai, or angel chicken cutlets, and the converse demon chicken, or emoji, both at the Lehua night market located in Yonghe district of New Taipei. They use the entire breast, bone included, and market themselves as the thickest cutlet, being that the thickness keeps the breast meat tender and moist. And boy, is it ever. Since the 80s, the offerings have just gotten more and more gourmet. Here are the top ones you've just got to try in 2020. We are going to start right here in Ximending, which is literally the little sister to Tokyo's Harajuku district. It once used to be the territory of middle and high school kids,
but now it's overrun by tourists looking for the cheapest in food and fashion fads. My cousin Steve, who lives right here in Taipei, will be our gallant guide. He actually is a ginormous foodie and in addition has worked a couple of stints as a street food hawker just to see what it's like behind the scenes, as he puts it. He's kind of off camera right now because he's really shy, but maybe we can get him to do a couple of on-camera scenes together. Fresh squeezed fruit juice stands have always been popular, including orange juice, passion fruit, star fruit, and even papaya and avocado milk. This year, I've discovered bitter melon juice.
Now, I personally love bitter melon, but it's certainly a polarizing vegetable. Cooked in stir fry, it's bitter as hell, and you have to parboil it in water first to get some of the nastiness out. The more common form is the green bitter melon, but this white Thai variety is supposed to be milder and perfect for juicing. Honey is added for sweetness.
So refreshing. Very subtle. Mostly what you're tasting is that honey, and it's got a very slight edge of bitterness on the back of your tongue. It's more of a lingering flavor. It's not for everyone, but at least try it out while you're here. The vendors will even further blend in different fruits and vegetables as they have them, and that will further dilute the bitterness if that's an issue for you. That was a perfect palate cleanser. Let's head to our next stop. Boba milk tea, Taiwan's global sensation, is ubiquitous worldwide, but Taiwan still leads the trend. The it thing nowadays is something called brown sugar bubble milk. No tea. Here in Ximending, what's really popular is a store called Xingfutang, which is a chain store, and they're all over Taiwan.
They make their boba from scratch, by hand, every few minutes. They start with a tapioca starch dough cut into round balls. Then it's steeped in a brown sugar solution of soap and stir-fried just before being scooped into your cup. For added aesthetics, it's artfully dripped down the sides of the cup to give it stripes. Then it's topped with milk and cream, sprinkled with brown sugar, which is bruleed with a blowtorch. Out of curiosity, we got their $8 top-of-the-line milk tea with an organic rose and gold foil. Meh, not worth it. This is what we're here for. I got an extra bit of grass jelly in mine. Make sure you give it a good shake and disperse the brown sugar.
Very sugary. Interesting flavor. The brown sugar is pretty intense, and yeah, for sure you don't miss the tea in this. So for people who are sensitive to caffeine like me, this is a good bet. For sure, the boba is way better using this method. It's still very QQ, and the outside is soft, very, very sweet. Actually, without the boba, this is just milk. So if you're coming here, you're not coming here for the drink, you're coming here because you're a boba aficionado. They aren't the cream of the crop though. Get it? My cousin recommends heading towards the Taipei Railroad Station and Tiger Sugar.
It's just one MRT stop to my old stomping grounds. This used to be a gritty industrial area, but nowadays it's a hip backpacker's paradise. There's cheap shopping here for days. Shops crowded in the back alleys and several underground malls below the train station.
Street food grew up around here because of the bushiban, or after-school tutoring centers, with hordes of kids looking for cheap eats.
For boba purists, the locals prefer Tiger Sugar. The name comes from the Chinese for brown sugar, heitang, which sounds similar to tiger sugar, hu tang. Plus, the cup looks like a tiger pelt and is infinitely Instagrammable. Also popular with locals is zhenzu den, literally translated to pearl eggs. Recently rebranded to True Den. While the first two are IG-worthy, this boba is taste bud worthy, with a creamier milk base and brown sugar boba that more closely resembles milk tea. Shake it good.
So my cousin says you've got to try them all because they're all slightly different. Each house makes it in their own very special way. He says it's kind of like a fine wine. It looks the same on the outside, but the flavor is quite unique.
Just around the corner is Fuzhou Shizu for some hujiaobing.
While you could get this at any night market, according to the locals, this place, near the train station, is the best.
The bun is a leavened flour dough laminated with lard or some form of oil to give it a flaky texture. It's filled with ground pork marinated in soy sauce, sugar, cooking wine, and a heaping load of black and white pepper, then generously dunked into chopped green onions. The round ball of doughy goodness is stuck onto the inside wall of a clay oven and baked to golden brown perfection. The sales are so good, you are guaranteed to get buns just scraped off the wall. You gotta eat it piping hot and fresh out of the oven. The outside bun is really crunchy on the outside and very chewy, and as we Taiwanese say, QQ on the inside. And the meat is very delicately flavored, nice and savory. There's a little bit of pork juice or soup broth on the inside. And then they've covered it with a generous portion of green onion for that bite. For our next street food, we've got to drive over. All right, we've now hopped into a taxi and we're headed over to Dihua or Dihua Street. This is a very old historical street that is popular with tourists. Is probably best known for clothing making and Chinese medicines. And in the olden days, this street, which kind of borders the river, was the center of town because of all the boats that used to come in. So we're gonna head over there and check out our next top street food. All right, our next stop, we are at Zhangjing Huarong, and as you can see, super popular store in here, and they have the best pork jerky products here in Taipei. So actually, my cousin Steve knows the owner. Steve and Jiang Shensen.
Hi.
We are here for their zurouzi, or paper pork, a jerky that is thin like rice paper. Actually, it looks more like Japanese nori seaweed sheets. There are several vendors that make pork paper, including at Siling and Rohe night markets. However, Steve says Mr. Zhang's shop is the best in town. In fact, the Zhangs have grown from a cart to a storefront with 2 attached factories churning these puppies out. The recipe is simple enough. It's a pork pulp, soy sauce, sugar, and apple juice for flavor, pressed and dried in thin, crispy sheets. You can get different flavors too, but the most popular comes with slivers of almonds embedded in the sheet. It's as addictive as chips. Look how thin that is. Oh yeah. Crispy, a little sweet, a little salty, yummy. All right, we have permission from the owner to go in, so we're gonna go in and check out the factory. We didn't get access to the pork paper production, but it's super interesting to see how natural their jerky making process is. Just lots and lots of drying and baking. Just down the street from Dihua is Ningxia Night Market. Night markets are the perfect gathering for street food hawkers. These started out in the olden days as vendors gathering around the temple, which also doubled as a town square. They would have produce during the day and food stalls at night. Nowadays, they're pretty much all day long. We're here for one in particular, the Liu cart, or simply translated to Liu's Taro, which happens to have a Michelin bib gourmand nod for their deep-fried taro balls with salted egg yolk. Check out this line. Oh my God! This is not the end of it. Look all the way down there. Yeah, that line ends at the end of that block right there. Taro is a particularly favorite and versatile starch veggie in Taiwan, used to make anything from congee to stir-fried to desserts. Here it's cooked, mashed, and made into a dough. Think potato dumplings. You have your choice of plain or stuffed with pork floss and a salted egg yolk. I would totally recommend getting the latter. Very excited to try these. These are fresh out of the fryer. Here's a quick look. Cheers. Ooh, watch you don't burn your mouth. That's so good. I love the taro, really creamy on the inside and crispy on the outside. Got that fabulous taro taste to it. That salted egg is really nice with that intense flavor. Makes a great foil for the taro. My one complaint is not enough pork floss. So I definitely cannot detect any taste of that at all. I think if it had been there, it would have been really awesome to have a little bit of that sweet and salty taste to it. And then of course that soft, silky texture of the floss itself. But good enough that I'd come back again for these. I'm waiting in that crazy line. Let's end with a pro tip, shall we? You have to purchase a minimum of 2 and only eat it straight out of the fryer. It does not taste good lukewarm, cold, or reheated. For our last street food, we're going to do some night market hopping. All right, we are at the very busy Shuangcen night market in Zhongshan. We're going to make a right down this alley here and go to get some crispy milk donuts. Wow, look at the line. This place is also named 脆皮鲜奶甜甜圈.
crispy milk donuts, just like the product.
The recipe is top secret, so I can only speculate how it's made. But for sure, their dough is made with some type of tapioca starch for added chewiness, or QQ. Then it looks like they dip it into milk or cream prior to frying and add milk powder into the sugar coating. And probably the dough too.
So here's my donut. Let's dig in. Looks super delicious and still very hot from the fryer. That's what we call in Chinese cui cui, or very crispy. The outside has this really nice layer of crunch, and the inside is light, fluffy, and chewy. So what this shop is best known for is the dough, and I would agree. It's got this really sweet, milky taste to it that I have never had in any donut before. My cousin calls this Taiwanese style donut, and the best part is even though it's deep fried, it's not oily at all. That was a feast fest. I am so massively full. Time to go home. Hope you enjoyed my introduction to all the little street foods here in Taipei. And there were quite a lot of yummy dishes that we tried, but did not include in this episode. So check out my outtakes and bloopers. And this about does it for my Taiwan series. See you back in San Francisco. Peace out. If that information was valuable to you, please help me make it available to more people. Subscribe by hitting that red subscribe button down below, or like the video by hitting the thumbs up icon. Thanks so much.